The distress signal crackled through the void of space, encoded in 17 different languages and transmitted on every known frequency. Ambassador Zekthar of the Viridian Collective clutched his four-fingered hands together as he watched the communication array flash red. "Still no response from the Galactic Defense Coalition," his aide reported, her crystalline voice tinged with despair. "The Krexani Armada will reach our colonies within 72 standard hours." Zekthar's elongated head drooped. The Krexani had swept through 3 star systems already, their bioships consuming entire worlds like cosmic locusts. The Viridians, despite their advanced technology, were a peaceful species. Their plasma shields and quantum computers meant nothing against an enemy that fought with living warships and weaponized evolution itself. "Sir," the communications officer's voice trembled, "we're receiving a response. But it's from the Sol system." Every being on the bridge turned. Sol system. The humans. The young species that had only achieved faster-than-light travel 3 decades ago. The ones who still fought wars with chemical explosives and metal projectiles, while the rest of the galaxy had moved on to energy weapons millennia past. "Put it through," Zekthar commanded. A human face appeared on the main screen, weathered, scarred, with piercing blue eyes that seemed to calculate threat assessments even while smiling. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Terran Colonial Navy. We received your distress call. Understood you've got some uninvited guests causing trouble?" "Admiral Chen," Zekthar began carefully, "we are grateful for your response, but I must inform you that the Krexani possess overwhelming firepower. They have defeated forces far more advanced than—" "Admiral," Chen interrupted gently, "with respect, we're not calling to surrender for you. We're calling to accept your request for assistance." The bridge fell silent. Behind Admiral Chen, Zekthar could see humans moving with purposeful efficiency, their primitive-looking consoles somehow managing to coordinate what appeared to be a massive fleet mobilization. "You would help us?" Zekthar asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "That's what the message said, wasn't it? Help requested, help en route. Though I should mention, we do things a bit differently than the Coalition. We've got about 48 hours before the Krexani reach your outer colonies. I'm going to need your agricultural output data, mineral composition of your worlds, and a complete cultural briefing on your people." Why would you need—" "Because," Admiral Chen smiled, and Zekthar suddenly understood why other species often described human expressions as predatory. "We're not just here to fight. We're here to win. And humans win wars by making sure they never have to fight the same enemy twice." 36 hours later, the Krexani biofleet emerged from hyperspace, expecting to find cowering Viridian colonies. Instead, they found tables. Not metaphorical tables, actual tables, hundreds of them, arranged in perfect geometric patterns in the space between the Krexani fleet and the Viridian worlds. Each table was surrounded by chairs, and at each chair sat a human in what appeared to be formal diplomatic attire. The Krexani hive mind spoke as one through its 1,000 bioships. "What trickery is this?" Admiral Chen's voice responded across all frequencies. "No trickery. These are negotiation tables. Please take a seat. We have much to discuss. We do not negotiate with food species." "Oh, that's unfortunate," Chen replied, her tone genuinely regretful. "Because we've already negotiated with your food." That's when the Krexani noticed the other ships in the system. Sleek vessels bearing the markings of a dozen different species. All civilizations the Krexani had conquered, their populations absorbed into the collective. But these ships moved with coordination, purpose, and most disturbing of all, independence. "You see," Chen continued as if giving a lecture, "humans have this funny habit. When someone asks us for help, we don't just look at the immediate problem. We look at the root cause. The Krexani consume worlds because you've evolved to require constant expansion, but what if we could solve your resource scarcity without expansion? Impossible. We've spent the last 36 hours establishing trade agreements with 47 species, including several you've already conquered. Turns out they're quite happy to trade resources for freedom. We've also established new agricultural colonies specifically designed to support Krexani nutritional needs, and these colonies are protected by a mutual defense treaty signed by 63 systems." The Krexani flagship pulsed with confusion and rage. "You would feed us? We'd prefer to trade with you. But that requires you to stop eating our potential trading partners. The silence stretched across space. Then slowly, the Krexani bioships began to move toward the tables. 6 months later, Ambassador Zekthar found himself in the strangest situation of his diplomatic career, attending a trade summit where the Krexani were discussing sustainable harvesting techniques with species they had once considered prey. Admiral Chen found him on the observation deck of the conference station, staring out at a mixed fleet of Krexani bioships and coalition vessels conducting joint training exercises. "I still don't understand," Zekthar admitted. "The other species feared the humans would bring their violent nature to our conflict. Instead, you brought bureaucracy." Chen chuckled. "Oh, we brought violence too. Did you see those torpedoes we had loaded on our ships? You mean those weren't weapons? Those were legal documents. Treaties, trade agreements, mutual defense pacts, and binding arbitration clauses, all loaded into projectile casings for rapid deployment. Turns out when you fire a comprehensive 4,000-page trade agreement at someone at near light speed, they tend to pay attention." Zekthar looked at her in amazement. "You turned warfare into paperwork." "We turned warfare into civilization," Chen corrected. "That's what humans do, Ambassador. We don't just solve the immediate problem. We solve the problem permanently. And sometimes the best way to defeat an enemy is to make them your business partner." As they watched, a Krexani bioship docked with a Viridian science vessel, their crews preparing for a joint research mission into sustainable resource cultivation. Admiral Chen smiled. "Besides, who needs to conquer the galaxy when you can just incorporate it?"